after the MPC, right, people should have been a bit more disappointed with the lack of a big stimulus. But I think a new narrative is being weaved, which is, the economy is starting to come back to life, right? And things weren't as bad as you think. And this is why the MPC doesn't have to do very much. And that narrative, I think, is starting to sink in. So I think the trade data coincides with that. And then there's some credibility behind that, hey, manufacturing may be coming back to life a little bit.
Are you convinced with just this one read that would be the case?
No, I think we're going to have to, watch for a few more data points to know. Because, again, if last year was a reference point, right, there's been too many fits and starts, right? 1 month, 2 months does not a trend make.
Yeah, I know this. I know that China is not a major commodity exporter, and I know Shivek clarified that. But I just find it interesting in terms of how their rare earth exports, critical mineral exports, are going up, given the dominance they have in critical minerals right now, light rare earth, which goes into everything electronic. And so, yes, while a large chunk of the export story is driven by automobiles and EVs and what have you, I am just intrigued by what's happening on this front, because this was also a national security issue, remember?
Yeah. So, what I'm now hearing is increasingly, and I think there's theory for this to be a trend, is increasingly we're going to see a lot of sort of critical components being exported by China to support other Chinese companies who, in the process of friendshoring, are now setting shop in Mexico, in Vietnam, looking to buy factories in Japan. And so in some ways, you're going to see a lot more intermediate and critical component goods being exported from China because they're trying to basically circumvent the friendshoring.
Right. And so how far can this story go, Jason? Can China claim dominance on this front? Because that would be worrisome for the world, especially for the U.S.
Yeah, so I think in this regard, right now, you only want to see it as this is on the fringe, a way for, China to still trade a lot, or at least with Chinese firms to still trade a lot with American firms, but now just from a sort of different destination. And so China will export to these sort of new trading partners, right? Mexico's already taken over China as the major trading partner, but you'll probably see very quickly that a lot of it is sort of Chinese manufacturers just basically relocating part of the manufacturing. And so they're going to be needing a lot more components, a lot more critical materials being exported from China. So I think you're going to see that. And of course, we saw that, right? When China and Taiwan didn't have the greatest of relationships, a lot of trading through Hong Kong was simply to circumvent any trade sanction that the two had on each other.